In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. We're going to finish the Ten Commandments tonight and then go into the connection to the Beatitudes. But by way of an announcement, people don't check the back, so it doesn't matter, I guess. We have this flyer out in honor of the 250th celebration of the Declaration of Independence. We only have 3 more in here. We're going to have immediately 5 weeks of a special program, Catholic Patriots Out of the Shadows. Just briefly. We are familiar with the names associated with the founding of the American Republic: Washington, Jefferson, Madison, Adams, Franklin, and many members of the genius generation who helped conceive the new nation, which dared an experiment in self-government and ordered liberty. Also, a significant number of Americans, sadly Catholic Americans, know little to nothing about the following people: Charles Carroll of Carrollton and the Carroll family, Casimir Pulaski, Adrienne de Lafayette, the real heroine, by the way, of the American Revolution, Ferdinand Farmer, and the greatest veiled Catholic. We're not going to tell you who that is. In thankful celebration to Almighty God and in preparation for the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, we will offer a 5-week series on the significant contribution of Catholics to colonial independence and the establishment of the United States of America. The dates are Monday night, 6/1, 6/8, 6/15, 6/22, and 6/29, 7 to 8, Knights of Columbus, and it is hoped that you will make this program a part of your celebration of the miracle at Philadelphia. So, the flyers are in the back. If you want, don't take one, please. There's no penalty for that. Anyway, we're going to do that. We're going to There's old Moses going up Mount Sinai. And reluctantly, we're going to leave behind number 5. And we're going to move on to number 6, which is what? What is commandment number 6? Huh? You shall not commit adultery. Yes, you are familiar with the commandments. You know, the things we break every day. But anyway, thou shalt not commit adultery. What value or virtues does adultery purport to support? A commitment, yes. Fidelity. The idea of fidelity and exclusivity. In other words, you don't go like Irma the Frog jumping from bed to bed. So that's what you have. You have fidelity and exclusivity in a nuptial relationship, sacramentally blessed and recognized by the Christian church. And it says there, thou shalt not commit adultery. So what is the meaning of adultery? What commitment? Yes. And we tend to understand that in what explicit terms? What fidelity, especially to what? Very good. Again, it's exclusivity to sexual relationships. Person says, I committed adultery. What do you think of? You don't think they changed toothpaste, huh? They may have changed partners, but not toothpaste. And that's the idea. So the point is that when we look at these commandments, they tend to be prohibitions. They tend to be not oriented, prohibitions. And they also tend to be very behavioral or act specific. That is, they are concerned with the whatness of something. The whatness of the act. The physical act itself. The physical act itself must be looked at as a standalone. And therefore, sin or no sin is based upon what the person did or did not do. So it's a physicality. Did you engage in an act? So you ask the what question, not the why, and so on and so forth like that. And in asking the what question, you are asking a question that is objective. In moral theology, it is the materiality of the act. Okay? Did the person or did not the person do the act? The act. Did they have sexual intercourse with somebody who they were not married to, although they were married and they had a duly constituted marriage? Well, they committed the act outside of marriage. That was the material act. Did the two human beings engage in the act of human copulation? Okay. And yes, no, that's it. Other things are secondary or not even thought of. So this is the particular act. Now, so these tend to be behavioral. And if you notice, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 words there, right? 5 words. You shall not commit adultery. Well, that doesn't sound like a lot of heavy lifting. You know, stay faithful to what you promised. That's it. Okay. But we're going to see that it's going to be much deeper than that. It's going to be deeper than that as we make a transition. Right now, we're at the level of act, behavior, materiality as to right and wrong. And that adultery has to do with infidelity and exclusivity. So, infidelity and exclusivity. And that's the particular act there. Is or isn't. How does it differ from fornication? What is the difference between adultery and fornication? Different people? What? What do they do? Yes. Mm-hmm. And what is the difference? They're not married. They're not married. Two people that are married, can they engage in adultery with each other? It's going to be interesting. All of you who are Sinai people jump to say, no, no, no.
Adultery is more than just physical, though.
Oh, we're going to get to that. That's right. That's right. Yes. Okay. You're not going to get punished, I promise. I figure you have suffered enough. If you know what I mean. Nothing about you. So, you shall not commit adultery. That's simple. The next commandment, you shall not steal. Can't steal. What is stealing? Taking what doesn't belong to you, or what you do not have. What? What's that? They're not yours, but and you don't have what? Yes, you don't have ownership, and you don't have title. Okay, and what else? You don't have a right to it. What does that mean? What does that mean? What virtue does it violate? Honesty. Yes, honesty. That's interesting. You shall not steal. Supposing your 16-year-old daughter, or your granddaughter, in some instances, takes your automobile and goes to the movies, goes to the show, so on and so forth like that. And you come home and your car's not there, because this happened to me. And you call the police and report your car stolen. And your 16-year-old is pulled over by the alert, best and brightest of Plaquemines Parish. And they call you and say, we have your daughter here with your car. Is she charged with stealing? Is she charged with stealing?
No, she's not.
What is she charged with? She is charged. What is it called? Unauthorized use of a vehicle. Unauthorized use of a vehicle. A mother one time called me on the phone, frantic, that her car had been stolen. Why, she called me. I didn't have it, I promise. I said, I'm just getting used to the rickshaw. You know, worrying about if I'm going to ride your stupid car. And I said, well, I really don't know what to tell you. I wasn't there. And she said, well, I'll tell you what I did. I called the police, and I told them my car was stolen. But now I think my daughter took it. I said, and you reported that to the police? She said, yes. The police don't really care about your mistake. You got a problem. So I had to call the police. This was in Orleans Parish. Call the police and talk to the watch commander. And I said, you know, it was one of those things. The mother came home, panicked, didn't see the car, didn't see the keys, didn't see anything else. And the car was gone. And she assumed somebody stole it. He says, well, you know, that's pretty serious. I said, I don't think it's a felony. I said, it's probably a Class A misdemeanor. but it is probably not a felony. He said, well, that's probably true. It was true. And, but I'm not going to argue with him. So I said, so if you could please cancel, be alert, and try to understand that this was a rash act of somebody about their car and not an attempt to deceive or to send the police on a goose chase and so on and so forth. So they canceled it, so on like that. But she wasn't stealing. She just didn't ask permission for it. So there's things there. But again, if you notice, it's very, very short. 4 words. You shall not steal. And so we associate stealing with the taking of property, right? Something that doesn't belong to you. That's what they mean there. Well, let's see if that's all there is to it, because, okay, big deal. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. That's a violation of what? Well, what's the violation of? Well, more than that. Violation of what? Truth. Violation of truth. See? You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. Now, of course, if you're a Perry Mason lawyer type, you immediately want to know, has the lawyer asked Jesus what? No, Pilate did that. No, I asked what person asked Jesus a question related to this commandment. Who is my neighbor? When does it, and what answer does he give, Marie? And what is that called? A parable of what? The Good Samaritan, right? Okay. The parable of the Good Samaritan. See? Parable of the Good Samaritan. And the question is, well, who's my neighbor? Well, it certainly wasn't everybody until you read that parable. That's what a parable does. It upsets your nice little comfortable preconceived notions of something. You shall not covet your neighbor's house, his female slave, donkey, anything that belongs to your neighbor, etc. And we're going to get to the point the one that I glossed over. What does it mean to covet? What?
Jealousy.
Let's see. When you were a child, did you? I know. I was probably older. Did you want something for Christmas?
Yes.
Did you desire it?
Yes.
Were you lustful? Bad little girl that you are? Come on, you got the statute of limitations has expired. Yes, you. Okay. So we're a lustful person there. You heard it. You kind of fold on the cross. Let me tell you, you didn't exactly fold up. Okay. Just kind of interesting. The idea of coveting. It is an inordinate desire to covet something. It's related to what particular capital sin? What particular 7 capital sins, which you should know like that. See, all of those are manifestations of a manifestation. Starts with an L. What? Lust, that's right. Lust. Lust. Now, it's a wonderful little book written by the great Vocation, who finally has been, at least, I don't know if they'll ever be just to him. They finally recognized him, I think, and bumped him up to blessed or something like that. Got all these stages you go through to do that. It's a wonderful little book. Great book, actually. It's called, strangely, Go to Heaven, a Spiritual Roadmap to Eternity. And he says something very different. He says, today, many people are used to saying or having said to them, go to hell. You know? You may have said that once upon a time to somebody. Some of you never. I understand that. And maybe some people have said that to you. You know? We've heard the expression. Okay? So don't wilt on me yet. So what Sheen says is, why don't we tell people go to heaven as much as we tell them to go to hell? And so he writes this book about going to heaven and what it means. And he writes the following. Just bear with me. It's not complicated. He says, lust is an inordinate love of the pleasures of the flesh. It is the prostitution of love, the extension of self-love to a point where the ego is projected into another person and loved under the illusion that the thou itself is being loved. Translation. He makes an important distinction when talking about lust between the I and the ego. The I is the personhood of the person, is that person as a person, valued, unique, made in the image and likeness of God. It is the I. The ego is that self-loving to the exclusion of everything else. It is an inordinate self-centeredness, a narcissism. It is a total focusing of everything on this self. In other words, in the language of Freud, it is the id. It is the Latin it. It's the it. It's irrational. It's unthinking. What it wants is immediate gratification, immediate satisfaction. You want to see the... We're not going to pick on children because we know. You want to see the ego or the id at work? Go look at a newborn baby, especially when they get to be the terrible twos. What do they want? Everything, and they want it now. No waiting, no patience, no nothing. Mother's fixing supper. Yes, I know. Mothers don't do that anymore. Yes, they do. Mothers are fixing, so everybody who's all upset and going crazy now, ready to wave things, calm down. We're going to get to the other side. So mother's making supper. And somebody's ringing the doorbell. And little Clarice, little bundle of joy there, is screaming, yelling. What? Clarice, don't you understand? The bell is ringing. I'm trying to fix supper. Don't you understand? There's no reasoning there, of course. That's a child. The id operates, Freud said, by the pleasure principle. Immediately, give it to me now. And believe me, you don't have to be 2 years old for that. You got some people 40, 50, 60, 70 who never got over the id or the ego. You don't believe it? Go out there. Go to the grocery store. Don't unless you got a lot of money. Don't go to the grocery store, especially in certain places that I won't name. So this is what you have. I want it now. It operates by the pleasure principle. The other extreme of that is the superego. or the conscience. That operates by the guilt or moral principle. It's the conscience. So, for example, I'm in the bed on Sunday morning, and it's the day after the night before, and I mean, my head is reeling or whatever it does, and I'm all this. In other words, I stayed up with the owls. I can't soar with the eagles, huh? So I'm there like this, and somebody comes in and says, "Let's go. We're going to Mass. It's 10 o'clock. Let's go." The ego says, "Are you crazy? You nuts. You ain't getting up out of it. Are you nuts? You're not going there. My Lord. Get up. You couldn't even make it out the door. Get in here. Forget about it. Get it next week or whatever. Don't worry about it." That's what the ego says, the id. The superego says, "Oh, my God, you evil, rotten, stinking person. You're going to hell. You're not going to Mass?" See, it is the guilt machine. And so now you're torn between these things. Either blow it off or you're going to get blown up in hell. So what are you going to do? To the rescue comes the ego, which operates by the rational principle. It says, stay in the bed. There's an evening Mass at 5 o'clock. So you don't act irrationally on the basis of pleasure, and you don't act irrationally on the basis of irrational guilt, because guilt can be irrational. And we've experienced that, huh? Have you ever, like, you're carrying a group of glasses or something for a party or something, and you're walking, and you happen to hit the side of the table, and the glasses fall. Think, "Oh my God, I feel so bad. Let me pay for it. I feel so guilty about this." The ego says, "Wait a minute, calm down. You didn't mean to do that. It was an accident. You want to help that person again to get back. That's fine and good, but let's not ship you downstairs so fast." The id says, broke all the glasses. What are we going to put the beer in? That's all it's worried about. So there you are. See, the ego and the superego are irrational. The ego, for Freud, is different than the way he's using it. The ego he understands as the id. And he's drawing on the philosophy and theology of one of the great theologians and philosophers of the 20th century, the Jewish philosopher and theologian, Martin Buber, who says there is the I-thou relationship, the I-it relationship, and the I-eternal thou relationship. The I-thou relationship is meeting a person as person. I don't value you because of what you can do for me, what I can get out of you. I don't value you because I can use you. I don't value you because of your beauty, because of your wealth, because of your intelligence, because of your strength. I don't care about any of that. I value you as you, the person that you are. And that is the deepest of meeting of people, the I-thou relationship. An I-it relationship says, I value Rick here. Okay, stop laughing. I value Rick here because I'm having a big shindig or something, whatever the word is, at the house. Don't know the word. And I need security. And he is a professional trained security officer, which he is. And so I really don't talk to Rick and really don't care much about him. But boy, all of a sudden, about 10 days out, I become his best friend, his other self. And as soon as The thing is over. He goes back in the envelope. I don't know him. Buber says that's an I-it relationship. I'm just using them. Like with a tool. It's a utilitarian or a transactional relationship. I like this lady here. Why? I like her because she's very intelligent. She's very good at math. I'm terrible at math. But I got to have her, so I get at least a C. Worst case, D. And she's my only hope. So, but she's not very good. She's not very good at literature. She's one of these mathematical people. Okay? So I say, look, I got something you need, and you got something I need. So if you tutor me in the math, I'll tutor you in the literature. That's an I-it relationship. It's a utilitarian. Because as soon as I pass the test and she passes the test, see you around. And that's it. Okay. Now some of those are legitimate. We do that all the time. Life is a mixture of these, aren't there? Your car breaks and you got to go to the doctor. And you go knock on your neighbor's door and you say, can you give me a ride? Is that utilitarian? Yes, of course, I'm using you to get a ride. But there's nothing wrong with that because the neighbor freely consents to it and says, oh, sure, come on, get in the car. You got everything you need? Let's go. We have those relationships. But a real, genuine human relationship must be an I-thou relationship. Supposing she doesn't have a car, or she can't take me. I don't dump her. She's still a good person who I value and respect and care for and would help if she came knocking at my door in the afternoon and needed something. I wouldn't say, well, wait a minute, you couldn't help me when I needed you to take me to the doctor. Why should I help you now? That says a lot. That says a lot about the relationship. I think we would agree to that. So, in the I-thou relationship, the ego is, according to Sheen, it is inordinate self-love to the exclusion of everybody else, in which the other becomes a total it, an object of my need sexually, an object of my need to learn math, an object of my, in other words, nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. All I want is this out of you. This is what you can do for me. And as soon as that ends, it ends. When you go to the store, you usually don't have an I-thou relationship with the cashier. Now, if you know her and you're into this and it's your neighbor, we don't want to talk about all that foolishness. That's all extraneous. That's not the point. The point is, you go there, you put your groceries there because they can't punch buttons. She runs the thing past the code or whatever it is. It comes up there. You don't even have to talk. You take your plastic money, do this, then the thing goes something bing, bing, or whatever it does. It should say sucker, sucker, sucker. No, ding, 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 ding. And you take the card out, and off you go. And you haven't said a word. You don't even say anything. It's a totally non-engaging activity for the most part. You don't have to. You don't have to do that. It's a purely antiseptic and depersonalized encounter. That's what it is. Much of our life has become that today on so many levels. So when I use the other in a lustful way, in a covetous way, I am denying that they are a thou and they are totally an it. Totally an it. And the last one up there is the eternal thou. God is the eternal person. God is the fullness of personhood. What do we say about the Blessed Trinity? Three apples in one, and then you get a... Oh, what was that? Three persons. Go ahead. Three persons in one nature, and that nature? Yes, it's divine. It's not human. It's divine. Divine. Therefore, God is that eternal I-thou relationship which values, blesses all true I-thou relationships. And the goal is to have relationships that mirror what? The divine relationship. All true relationships then are Trinitarian. They're Trinitarian. Scary isn't here. What did you do to him? Oh, I'm sorry. It was a leading question. I'm sorry. You left him home. Poor fella's probably on the floor trying to go. I've fallen and I can't get up. She's going, God, I hope he runs over tonight. You know, he's a terrible thing to say. Anyway, you have an I-thou relationship with Gary. Can you have an I-thou relationship, since he's not here to defend himself, with Greg? Can you have an I-thou relationship with Maria? Oh, yes, yes. Can you have one with the neighbor next door? Yes. You can have all those relationships that are I-thou. We make this distinction. Different in degree and kind. There's a difference in degree and kind, but they are one in the I-thou component. Different in degree. Betty does not love the neighbor or Marie to the same extent that she does Gary, because Gary's loving relationship is nuptial, sacramental. Her relationship to Marie or to the neighbor or whatever, it's different in kind and different in degree. I don't call my neighbor my husband. I don't call Marie my wife. I understand they do it now. We don't care about that. It's not that. So you have difference of degree and kind there. But what is the foundation is the I-thou relationship, and its grounding in the I-thou relationship. God never treats us as, God does not relate to us how? Never how? As an I-it relationship. Never. God always treats us as I-thou relationship. Can we treat God as an I-it relationship? Yes. Sure. I want to pass the test. I need this favor. I need that favor. And all of a sudden, I'm in church. I'm kneeling on Uncle Ben Rice, uncooked. And I'm kneeling there. I'm doing penance. I'm beating myself. I'm doing all this kind of stuff, lighting candles. I'm going to novenas. God knows. I'm ready to be hoisted upstairs and all that. I prayed for this. And, of course, I don't get it. And then I get all despondent. No. So but then I'm never there again until the next crisis comes or the next problem comes. And then all of a sudden I know God. There are no atheists in foxholes. Well, okay. But most of us don't live the majority of our life in a foxhole. Yeah, well, I'll get around to him. Yeah, okay. See? So we can treat God as an I-it relationship. But God always treats us as I-thou. God knows us uniquely, wholly, completely, because God alone reads minds and hearts. God alone knows intentions. That's why we can never fully treat the other as a thou, because there's always a mystery and a part veiled from the other. Hes is the self. How many times have you done something in the course of a day that you say, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I said that. What are you saying? I surprised myself. There's a part of me I didn't, or somebody says, gee, I didn't know you had it in you. And you say, neither did I. What are you saying? There's parts of me I didn't know. I didn't know I could rise to the occasion. Or on the downside, I didn't know I could be so nasty or so cantankerous or whatever the thing is. See? St. Augustine says, I am a great mystery, the great mystery unto myself. That's why for the Greek philosophers, across the entrance to the oracle at Delphi, the beginning of wisdom is to know thyself. The journey of self-knowledge. And that's a lifelong task. And we never really arrive fully and completely at that. There's always a hidden part of ourselves that remains veiled, etc. So lust is this relationship of I-it relationships and not I-thou relationships. The next commandment, bear false witness, you shall not covet, so on, and you shall not what? What does it say? You shall not covet what? It says it there. Yeah, number 9. Well, they make a distinction, don't they? Do you notice? Read that again very slowly, please.
You shall not covet your neighbor's house.
Wait, house. Okay. Go ahead.
You shall not covet your neighbor's wife.
Over here. Go ahead.
Or his manservant.
Manservant.
Or his maidservant.
Maidservant.
Or
His ox.
his ass.
His ass.
Or anything that is your neighbor's.
Anything that is your neighbor's. What do you see here? What is this one? What is wife considered? Yeah. No. The wife is lumped with what? What is this? Ownership. She's considered property. We're talking back, they're running around the desert somewhere. I mean, they haven't read Gloria Steinem, okay? They haven't looked at Girly Brown and read Ms. Magazine. The wife is considered chattel, property. Could men commit adultery against a woman? Of course not. Why? Not back then. You see, you are stuck in this century, as we all are. So what? I'm just kidding. Go ahead. You'll get over it. Only women could. Why was the woman stoned? So what? Who threw the first stone? Why?
He had to shut her up.
He was upset that she had sex with somebody else.
I violated the first rule of being a good lawyer. Never ask a question you don't know the answer to. The witness is dismissed. Does anyone know why, other than Mrs. Johnny Carson here, why does he get to throw the first stone? He's a man. Well, if she's property, and you stole and you coveted it, and you got her, and so on and so forth, you stole her. You stole his property. But more than the property of a jackass or a house or whatever, there still is that element there. If I steal your house, the house, do I get stoned? No. If I steal your manservant, do I get stoned? Your maidservant? No. 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 But they don't have the same weight as somebody who is your intimate property, your wife. Your husband cats around. Got the morals of an alley cat, huh? It's all over the place. Does she get to throw a stone? Not even a pebble. No, she couldn't even hit him with a spitball. See? Now, that's unfair. Yeah, well, get over it. Yeah, it's unfair. It's unfair by our standards. I'm asking you to think millennia back. No, you see. So you have that. You covet the property. You covet the wife because she's part of the property. How many commandments have we gone through? 9. What's 10?
Anything that belongs to your neighbor, that's
Sir?
right.
Cover, that's right, cover your neighbor's goods. It's property. Cover the neighbor's property. See? Which goes back to what particular, those last commandments, what commandment does it go back to? What commandment does it reference? Thou shalt not steal, doesn't it? Right? Goes back to 7. Goes back to 7. Now, in all of these things, you see that these are basically restrictions, not, etc. And they're behavioral. They're behavioral, etc. Am I here? Am I guilty of stealing? I walk down the aisle and I see that Betty there has a beautiful watch. And she's one of those people who has to take the watch off in order to watch it, to see that I'm right at 8 o'clock. You see, so she leaves it on the pew. She's got to watch that, God forbid. Okay. And she gets up to go fool with the stuff in the back. Okay? And I see the watch. And she's back there. And I walk and I'm talking, and he's oblivious to what's going on. All of you are looking at your watches and so on and so forth. And I go down the aisle and I say, oh, can you hear? Are you all right? And all the while, distraction, I take the watch. But then I hear sounds of Betty coming, so I put it back. Did I steal her watch? I put it back. How did I steal your watch? I put it back. My God. Where's the smart aleck we need now? Or what I do is I take the watch and I say, oh, is this somebody's watch? Look, don't forget your watch. See, am I guilty of some wrong? Am I guilty of a wrong? How can I be guilty of a wrong? You told me I didn't steal the watch. Did I commit a stealing act? No, I did not. How can you say I did? No, I asked you to think of this side of the thing. You're already running out into something else. You're up here doing this. I don't know if you need a bufferin or an Anacin or something. I don't know what you're doing, or your connection to Mars isn't coming in or something. I don't know. What I'm saying is, did she commit a stealing act? No. Did she commit a stealing act? No, she did not. She did not. If the police came in and Jim here finally wakes up and says he stole the watch, and I say, search me. I say, look, it's right there. Would the policeman take me in? No. He might have something to say to you for false reporting.
That's why he's quiet.
You see? No, he's listening to Duke basketball on that thing. That's what he's doing. No, I asked you what act. The act is, no, he didn't. He didn't steal. You're jumping into all other kinds of things that we're going to get to. See, this is the law. This is the law. And the law is concerned with your behavior and your acts. See? That's the 10 Commandments right there. But along comes this itinerant guy from Bethlehem, and what? Mm-hmm. And what people want to say is, this is no good. That's not true. That's not true. You see? This space here is the long march of history. And who is the major player, in the collective player in the long march of history between that and that? What specifically is the long march in the Bible between this to there? Not Jesus. What happens on Sinai? Okay, in the 10 Commandments, huh? Yeah, the law given to, and Moses gives them. He gives them to the people, just the people. Come on, people. Come on, people. Oh, yeah. See, all you Semites, anti-Semites, you. Yes, I know it's hard for y'all to say it. Jews, yes. To the Jewish people. Why? They're the chosen people of God by the covenant with whom? No. What is the first covenant? The Abrahamic covenant. That's the first one. The second covenant is what? Who does he make the second covenant with? First one is Abraham, the second one? Noah. Very good. With Noah, after the flood. I will never destroy the earth again. And the third covenant? No. Moses is the instrument of the Abraham covenant. What is the third one?
Is it God with the Jewish people at the end?
We already have them up there. Who does he make it with? When you say the Jewish people, with whom? What person? What person is the third covenant made with? What did you say? David. Why did you say David?
Because he's the third.
Yes. Yes. You see, this is what's called a vicious circle. See, because I'm going to say why, and you're going to say because he's the third. And I say, why is he the third? And you're going to say because he follows the 1 and 2. See, so that's not working. Okay, Rick? You're great at security, but you're a little shaky on other things. Why do I keep picking on this side? God, there's a deficiency, there's a brain deficiency on this side. Okay, anyway, does anyone here venture a guess as to what? No, you've already been silenced. You're on the wrong side. You cannot speak. Why? Why David? What does he say to David?
From David's line, the Messiah will come.
Beautiful. Yes, he makes the Davidic covenant. From you, the Messiah will come, the house of David. Matthew goes to great lengths to tell you Joseph is of the house of David in Bethlehem. And it had to be in Bethlehem of the house of David. And notice how God uses a seemingly secular activity. Caesar Augustus gets it in his goofy head that he's got to have a census. Why? Because his kingdom is so vast and he's fighting so many foreign wars. Sounds familiar. So many foreign wars all over the place that he's got to find out how much revenue he can get in taxes so that he can keep funding the war. That was the census. He didn't really care how many he had, other than, talk about utilitarian, how much can I tax him? But God uses that as an occasion to bring the Holy Family, Jesus and Mary and Joseph, to where? To Bethlehem, the place of the Messiah. And Joseph is of the house of David. See? Of the house of David. And so God uses events that seem to be purely secular, purely ordinary, in order to achieve some greater and deeper purpose. As when Cyrus defeated the Babylonians and allowed the Jews to return. He brought them back. This pagan Cyrus, this Persian king, of which today is modern Iran, by the way, there you are. And there's the Great Restoration. So that's why we always look at these great events in history and say, what might God be doing? I'm not talking about we read one for one, and I'm not talking about these people who, every time God belches or something, it's a sign from God he's coming today or tomorrow or next week. And I talk about all that kind of millennialism and all that kind of stuff. I'm talking about seeing the hand of God in various events and trying to make some sense of it, realizing, as St. Paul said, we see through a glass darkly. Who has known the mind of God and been his counselor? We don't know that. But we try to see as best we can, and so on. So, Jesus comes with the Beatitudes, and there is not a rejection of this. That is one of the great mistakes. This is obsolete. This is no longer operative. This is foundational. But the foundation requires what? What does the foundation require to perform its function? It has to be built on, right? Would you like to buy this wonderful foundation? I'm selling it for $1 million. Huh? What? Where's the house? Oh, just the foundation, selling that. Is the foundation important? Yeah, I don't know an architect who starts building on the second story. That kind of going to have a problem. Because like you need like a first and then a foundation, you know what I mean? You have to have them together. Look at Matthew chapter 5. We're going to be concentrating here on the Sermon on the Mount. Matthew 5, 6, and 7. I'm trying to hurry up, so just get with it, please. Matthew 5. And right off the bat, it gives you the idea. Let's look at chapter 5, verse 1. Just start right there, please. Matthew's Gospel, chapter 5, verse 1. Okay? 5, 6, and 7. Matthew, it's in the New Testament. It's the first of the Gospels. Does everyone have it? Everybody have it who wants it? Okay. It says there, when he saw the crowds, he went up the mountain. Who went up the mountain? Who went up the mountain in the Old Testament that we're talking about? Moses. And the people that were looking and wondering about Moses were who? Who are the people? The Jewish people. The Jewish people. And after he had sat down, his disciples came to him. He began to teach them. Where does Moses differ from Jesus at this point? He's teaching. What does Moses do? He receives. Very good. Jesus is the new Moses. He is the perfection of Moses. He doesn't receive a law. He is the Son of God. Therefore, he is teaching a new law. He's not repudiating Moses. That's very important. He is not. And he's going to state it clearly, and we'll see in a moment. Okay? And he begins with the Beatitudes. And look at chapter 5, verse 17. 5:17. Lest there be any doubt. 5:17, please. 5:17. Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have come not to abolish, but to fulfill. Now, Mr. Magoo, Stevie Wonder, and Ray Charles can see that. That's about as clear as you can make it. I have not come to abolish. I have come to fulfill them. The only way he can fulfill them is that you already have them. You can't fulfill something that hasn't already been offered and needs completion. And the completion is, it is no longer simply behavioral. Now, all of you that were jumping in from your 21st century mentality, adding all kind of factors and everything, heart and mind, and somebody over here was beating their head or doing something. I don't know what well, it was Marie back there. It's now the heart. The heart being the core and center of the person. The core and center of the person. This is the person who they truly are in their relationship to God, others, and self. God, others, and self. God, others, and self. So, what Jesus does is fulfill these, perfect them. He doesn't say, it doesn't matter what you do, as long as you had a good intention. Okay? I go to a wedding, okay? friend of mine's is having a wedding. And afterwards, we're going to have the reception. I'm just going to the wedding because I want to get to the reception. And so I go to the reception. And I mean, I'm telling you, I'm throwing them down with the best of them. Okay? I mean, I'm having a great time. I mean, everybody looks good. That tells you how much I had to drink. You know? Take that as you like. Anyway, so there we are. And I get in my car after several tries. You know, I'm impaired a bit. I finally get it in there, and I mean, I'm like this. And I put the thing in there, and I start the car. And I go driving off. And here comes one of these poor creatures over here, just walking across the street. And I'm kind of trying to stay awake, and pow! I run him over. And I say, after they get the roadkill off the highway, and I say to the policeman, I didn't mean to do that. I really didn't mean to do that. And the policeman says, oh, okay, then go home. Look, just have somebody drive you home. It's okay. Would a policeman likely say that to you? No, of course not. Of course not. See? Your intention, see, some people say, you know, the old thing about the road to hell is paved with good intentions. It's not simply the heart. It has to be the heart grounded or guided by truth and reason. Did the person intend to run over Cindy? No, they didn't. No matter how annoying she is to him, they did not mean to run over you, Cindy. They didn't mean to do that now. Huh? See, he just didn't mean to do it. Did he do it? His defense is, I didn't mean to do it. Okay? Yeah, we all agree with that. We all agree he did not mean to do it. He didn't even know her. Well, sir, how much did you have to drink? I had about 7 or 8, what did they drink it? Mai Tais. Mai Tais? She can't even give me an American drink, okay? She's one of these globalists, you know. It finally comes out, thank God, you know. My God, Mai Tai. Hi, I'll have a Mai Tai. Keep your own tie. You're not having mine. What is this? Well, I don't see. I keep going over there, and I should not. So I want a Jack Daniels with 7-Up or something. I don't know, 7-Up or something. How many have you had? Let's see. I can't remember. Oh, can't remember. So more than one? Oh, yeah. 5? Yeah, I think so. Do you know that after a certain point, you become impaired? If you take that, doesn't the reasonable person know that you should not be operating a vehicle? Yes. The reasonable person knows that. Now, we can come up with all kind of crazy things. And I'm not talking about that. The reasonable person knows that. And they take a blood test or something on you, and you're 2.0 or whatever it is. I know, what is it, 0.8 now? 0.8 or something? I don't know, whatever it is, the legal limit or something like that. But anyway, it's way over it. Well, is the person guilty? Yes. The reasonable person should have known that consuming that amount of alcohol over that particular period of time, etc., impairs you. Given the fact it took you 5 minutes to even find the hole to put your key in, tells you something. And then down the street you went, and so on and so forth like that. We agree you didn't intend to do it, but that's no excuse. You don't cash in your intellect, reason, and prudence simply because you have a good intention. It's like these people who say, well, I meant well, I was sincere. Oh, okay, and then that's supposed to be it. I'm in the operating room, and I'm the surgical nurse. And the doctor asked me to give him 5 cc's or something. And there's a bunch of bottles there, etc. And he's yelling at me. Come on, I need that now. Come on, come on. You know? And so you get kind of flustered, and you grab the bottle. And you believe sincerely that this is what the doctor asked for. You shove it in there and you give it, and the patient either goes into cardiac arrest, dies, or seriously in problems. Did the person sincerely believe that what they were giving the doctor was what he asked for? Yes, yes, yes. He was sincere. She was sincere. She was sincere. She made a mistake. Does the law exonerate her? No, it doesn't. It's negligence. It's negligence. It's not willful disregard. It's not that. But it is a mistake where a person who has that privilege to be able to be in the operating room, as a doctor may make a mistake with a diagnosis or what to do in a procedure. Well, you know he's going to get sued for malpractice. Did he mean to have the patient go into arrest or bleed on the table and all this? No. He did what he thought. And then immediately they say, what are best medical practices? What are best medical practices? Then you go to that. You see, and that's right. Well, the person is now very much harmed. And so this is the problem. See, so it's much more complicated than this. Once you start digging into these things, that's why when we start judging behavior and we start judging these kind of things, we have to be very, very prudent and cautious. I'm in no position to judge another person's heart. I can't do that. I have no idea. That's why God is God and I'm not. I can judge your behavior. I can judge your behavior. Did that person do a wrong act by giving them that vial instead of something else? It was a wrong act. It was a wrong act. Was the person culpable, responsible for the act? Yes. But did the person mean to do harm to that person? No. I'm almost finished. This is important because the act is the what, and the what is either right or wrong, good or evil. That's the act. Then we get to the evaluation. Of the act. This is the area of culpability, responsibility, etc. that goes into it. I can judge an act to be wrong. Wrong. On evaluation, I can say that there were what kind of circumstances? What do we call them? Extenuating, mitigating circumstances. Mitigating circumstances. For example, this nurse was kept on, and she's now in her second shift. She's been here 16 or 18 hours. Not uncommon, by the way, if you're in Charity Hospital. And that's right, huh? 16, 18 hours. And you got some doctor yelling and screaming at you, some kid, not even wet, out of medical school, or first-year resident or first surgeon or whatever, and he's screaming and yelling and all of this. Okay? Does that excuse the act? No. The act is still wrong. I sincerely didn't mean to do it. It doesn't matter. The patient's dead. That's the act. That's the consequence. But when, even in a courtroom, you have the decision phase and you have the innocence or guilt phase, the decision phase, and then you have the punishment phase, the applying of that to the case. You see? And so, given that, you may say, you lose your license forever to be a nurse. Okay? Some people would think that's very harsh and unreasonable and probably would be appealed to the board or something like that. They might say, you have to suspended for 6 months, a year, something like that. Okay? We do that with children, don't we? You're expelled, you're suspended, you stay after school, you come to Saturday school. There's all gradations of culpability because we recognize the levels. It's not simply, she killed that patient. Wait a minute, whoa. Geez, I want to know a whole lot more than that. You see, I want to know a whole lot more than that. So, when you get here to the Sermon on the Mount, it requires of you, in your actions, first step always is introspection. Did I do what I did with a pure heart and clean hands? That's the first question. Or am I hiding behind, I didn't intend it, I was sincere? All the while I wasn't. I have to be honest with myself first. See, we worry about everybody else being honest and fair and so on and so forth. Jesus says, I judge no man. The word that I speak to you is your judge. Notice, the word I speak to you is your judge. The word, and you judge yourself by your response. That's always the first thing. And what degree to that, and so on. Otherwise, I'm into rationalization. I'm into all these. I can rationalize anything. I can rationalize anything. Final thing, I'm in an office. And I think that I'm not getting paid fairly for my work. I just don't think that. I think I should be getting paid more, or get a promotion, something like that. And one of the clerks in the office with me is responsible for bringing the receipts and the cash at the end of the week for deposit in the bank that we do business with, whatever the bank is. And the person is getting it all together, and the boss says, Shirley, can I see you a moment before you go? Yes. And she wants to hurry because the bank closes at 4 o'clock, and it's quarter to 4. So she wants to get there because they don't want this in the office overnight. So while she goes, I, the disgruntled, see it there, and I see the envelopes there. And maybe there's 1 or 2 other people, maybe I'm there by myself, and I take one of the envelopes, and I pull cash out of it. Don't I feel bad about it? No. No, I don't. They owe it to me. They're not paying me. That's pure rationalization. Pure rationalization. I can rationalize anything. I can lie to myself. That's what it is, a lie to the self. I said that, but I didn't mean it to have that. I didn't mean it to hurt them. You said these things about the person ungrounded in truth. And even if it's true, you don't have a right to say that, because every person has an absolute right to their good name. And I don't have a right to go and defame somebody or to say something about somebody, even if it happens to be true. Because am I saying it to a person who needs to know it and has a right to know it? See, people ask you sometimes, is that true? And the first thing you should ask yourself is, does that person have a right to the truth? You make a visit to the confessional in there. It's over there with the light on, so on, usually on Saturday. Anyway, so you go there, and you're in there, and the priest is there with you, and you're going on with all of your real and imagined sins. And outside the door is some big ear, who could have found bin Laden before the AWACS plane found him, out there listening. And the other bitty body is in the back of him. He said, "Oh, what did she say? Did you hear? What did she say? Tell me. And you say, well, I did hear it, and she asked me, so I told her. I didn't want to lie. Are you crazy? Have you completely lost your mind? Does that person have a right to the truth of what that person said? Absolutely not. So everybody asks you for something doesn't mean it's the right thing. I had a person recently, hurt my feelings, but it's okay, said to me after one of the masses, I think the person's now in Angola, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, I don't know that. She said, "Oh, Father, I'm so disappointed in you." So at that moment, being a modern, what I'm supposed to do is to crumble. Oh, why? Oh, what did I do to disappoint you? Oh, please tell me. Oh, I'll never do it again, I promise. I promise. This is the lady who told me that. No, she did not. No, she did. This poor lady's never coming again. That's what I'm supposed to do. No. So I simply said to her, politely, I said, let me ask you a question. What could there be that there's something wrong with your expectation? In other words, St. Thomas Aquinas said a thing is always received with the intention of the receiver, not the giver. You've done that. Have you ever told somebody, oh, gee, you really look nice today? She, being in a grumpy mood, says, well, what? I don't look good the other days when I come in here? You say, oh, my God. Did you have the best intention? Yes, you wanted to tell her, you look good today, and so on. It's with the receiver. We've done that. We say, Jesus, all I said was, my Lord, wait a minute, you didn't understand what I meant. Let me explain. Well, you did right there. As soon as you got to start explaining, you did. Okay? It's like a tire in the back, in Louisiana summer shower, and you in the mud. The more you hit the pedal, the deeper you go. So once you start explaining it, you got a problem. You got a problem. See? So we have to ask, what are people asking of me? What are they asking of you? Every request is not answered. Every request shouldn't be answered. There are some people who are asking you to do things you got to be kidding, that you would never do. And so we go through all of these kind of machinations and everything, but we never say, well, Well, what is their expectation of me? And is that a legitimate expectation of me? If it's not, tough. You disappointed? I'm really disappointed in you for even asking me that. That's also possible, because you're asking something from me that I can't give you, won't give you, and shouldn't give you. No, we kind of crumble under all of this now because we have to get along with everybody. My Lord. So, when we look at the Beatitudes next week, we want to keep this in mind, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 8 Beatitudes and I'm going to correlate them with the 10 Commandments and show how they're fulfilled. And for the last time we're together, control yourself, I realize I've asked Father Kyle to have EMTs and abundance of salts in the back to keep you, from getting apoplectic or whatever people get. I don't know. But I want to do that, and I want to say that there's a practical way in which we are going to be able to see the connection and apply them in our life through the virtues, moral and spiritual, and through the corporal and spiritual works of mercy. This is where then the rubber meets the road, and this gets specific, more specific. So we're going from here to here. We're going to apply these commandments and see how they are fulfilled, and therefore it's important you read Matthew 5, 6, and 7, the Sermon on the Mount. Much of it you're already familiar with. Then I'm going to center in on the 4 cardinal virtues and the 3 theological virtues as an application of this, and then in our everyday life through the virtues and through the works, spiritual works and corporal works of mercy. And then that will complete us like that. Okay, and then we will have completed our mission. At least that's my expectation. Anyway, all right, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Almighty and gracious God, we offer you glory, praise, and thanksgiving for the gift of this night and this time together. We thank you, Holy Spirit. Please indwell in us with the fire of your love. Burn away all that keeps us from loving you with our whole being, following you faithfully, O Jesus, and the hardening of our hearts,